pepper spray. Mickey with CarryTrainer.com. My man Drew with the sweet hair behind the editing desk and cameras and doing all the smart guy stuff. We've got some things to talk about. Pepper spray. What's it for? What's it not for? Should you carry some? Is giving your daughter a can and saying, here, spray a bad guy in the face a good way of going about it? Should you train with it? And if so, how? Let's get right into it. So this video, I'm going to be using Palm pepper spray. Alexander, the owner at Palm, is a friend of ours, a sponsor of our S12 event. Full disclosure, this company's been around for years, the parent company of Palm, and they make components that go into all of the other pepper sprays that you see on the market here in the United States. So just dropping that. So let's talk a little bit about the types of chemical irritants, not just pepper spray. You got CN, CS, and OC. Pepper spray is OC. I wrote these words out. I'm not even going to try to say them. Chloroacetophenone, I don't even know what that is. And then CS, orthochlorobenzylaminotrol, I guess. I don't know. Google it. OC, a little easier to say. Oleoresin capsicum, I believe. But if I'm saying it wrong, it doesn't matter. It burns. So this is the one that you're going to see nowadays most likely. If you get into certain law enforcement sprays, like this one here, this one has both OC and CS in it. But I want to talk about the stuff that we're going to be able to buy over the counter, most everywhere, and have on us. Some of these bigger riot sprays, stuff like that's used in jail settings, etc. It's not the stuff that most of us are going to have access to or comfortably carry, which is important. My thought process whenever I'm doing any training starts with this. What's my goal? What's my goal? So if you come to a CarryTrainer course, you'll probably hear me in the first 15 minutes say, why are you here? What's your goal? Why would we go buy something like this and put it in our pocket? What's my goal? If you say to shoot bad people in the face, that's too broad. Let's get more specific. What's my goal? This is analogous to poking somebody in the eye. This is analogous to startling somebody. This is analogous to bitch slapping somebody. This is a momentary reaction getter. Even if the person ends up on their hands and knees, what this does is it buys you time through a distractant, which may be mucus in tears pouring out of the person's face, to boogie, right? We don't stand there and say, do you like that? Right? This concept is this thing stops somebody that's not listening to us and helps us get away. The goal, I gotta have it with me. Sounds obvious. We'll talk more about that. Know how to use it. I've got a analog trainer. So here's the one that's got the real OC spray in it. Here's one that comes from Palm. It's blue to help you know it's inert. It's full of water. It's got the same pressure in it, charged with nitrogen, and the same volume of liquid. I actually verified that with Alexander today. So know how to use it, which means you're probably going to want to get a training canister. Condition and position. So I got a blue gun on me, just a chunk of plastic from our friends at Blue Guns in Florida. Blue gun, if we think about the pepper spray and we compare it to how we carry a pistol, John Bianchi holsters, modern variation of that company, pardon me, is Safariland. Safariland bought up Bianchi holsters. John knew a thing or two about carrying guns. And John's had this saying that I heard years ago and I repeat it often: one gun, one holster, all the time. His point wasn't don't own more than one gun, don't have more than one holster. What he was saying is get a pistol, get a holster, put it on your body, and train with it in the same position. Don't change guns, don't change holsters, don't change positions. Train with it until it becomes rote muscle memory for you to get that thing in and out. If I start moving things all over me, getting different guns, different holsters, different angles, even different clothing, I'm going to have different presentations of that gun. Well, the same thing is true with this. What happens when oftentimes you dads, husbands, and I'm not being sexist, but I have given most of my sisters that live around here, my mom, ladies in my life, nieces, aunts, I've given this to them. It's not that guys shouldn't have it. I carry one. but I feel compelled, like, hey, I want you to have this, but I want you to know how to use it. What do most people do with this? Where is it? And so I see these girls, I'll see a niece at a party. I go, hey, where's your pepper spray? It's in my glove box, or it's in my drawer at home, or it's in my purse. Where's your purse? It's in the car, which means that your tool isn't with you. We've got the 3 R's. 3 R's stand for reliable, repeatable, robust. Reliable, repeatable, robust. I'll say it one more time. Reliable, repeatable, robust. Some people hear that, and I often say they think reliable and repeatable are the same thing. Reliable means I can rely on it. Repeatable, I can repeat something that's not good, right? So I differentiate between reliable and repeatable. Let's look at the draw stroke. I need to start out with a good holster, a good belt. I need to have a good functioning pistol. I need the gun placed on my body in a way that I can get good access to it. So that helps me with reliability. Repeatability comes through training. Can I repeat my draw stroke? Can I repeat that draw stroke? Am I developing a master grip, right? And robust, that third word, robust. So I could put this gun on me as described. I can develop the ability to get to it as described. But if I've got some poopy grip, is that robust? Is that grip going to help me in violence? Am I going to be able to hang on to that gun and do what needs doing? Back to the pepper spray. Same exact concept. If I've just got this thing buried in a pocket and I'm walking to my car or wherever and I need this and I'm trying to get it out and now it's upside down and backwards in my pocket, that doesn't make a lot of sense. A lot of different brands on the market with different ways to attach them to you. If you're going to carry it in your pocket, carry it in your pocket and carry it in the same way. Position it so that you can get it out. So here's some food for thought. This has a belt clip on it. The way that I practice with this, it's in my belt. The way that this thumb cap works on this, there's a safety cap. As I bring this out of my pocket, see that safety on there? It positions right into my grip. So I reach in. If it was outside of my pants, I'm reaching in like so that as I pull it up, it's ready to go. See that? And I can practice that all day long. Basically what's happening is I'm making a grip around this sucker very similar to the pistol, and I'm not comparing it, I'm not saying it's like shooting. What I'm saying is the methodology of how we create continuity and how we are able to just point at what we want to shoot this sucker at comes through very specific motor movements and us being very conscientious of how we're training. We can't just throw this thing in the cup holder or in the glove box and think it's going to do us a hill of beans of good. If you're using your pocket, this is just for example. I can have this on my belt line. And again, just an example. As I go to grab this, it's pointing the wrong way. See that? This is my point. We need to be able to train with continuity. I've done it so long out of my pocket that as I retrieved it from that position, ended up the wrong way. This tool buys me time, right? So we have a saying at CarryTrainer, awareness is the currency by which we buy time to act. Seconds could be minutes, right? I see smoke on that horizon. Man, maybe there's a brush fire that I should pay attention to, right? Maybe I bought myself minutes. The alarm is going off. That buys me seconds maybe before somebody comes into your house, right? The dog starts barking. That is alerting you. Your awareness is picking up something in your environment. Ambushes rely on you not being aware. All of this self-defense stuff is predicated, meaning it's all built on this concept of you, me, needing to pay attention, to be aware. Awareness buys us time. So let's just imagine a scenario, the proverbial parking lot, right? We have these scenarios that we think about and we play out. I'm going to the car. I've got my keys. Do I need my keys in my hand as I'm going to the car? There's various discussion points. Nowadays, these modern cars, like my truck, as my keys get within 5 or 10 feet, it automatically unlocks the truck. Of course, not every car does that. Can you push the unlock button as you exit the store? Can I reach in my pocket, feel for that button and push it? Why would I want to do that? Because I want my hands free, right? Could I walk to the car with this in my hand, just like this? You bet your butt I can. When would you do that? anytime that you want to have the ability to juice someone. If you wait and think, man, I'm in this bad part of town, I need this, maybe don't go to the bad part of town. If you wait until somebody's in your face, you might not have time. So let's prep ourselves, right? Awareness buys us time to act. Why do we use, let's go back to the draw stroke. Why do we use ready positions, right? We use ready positions because we are taking time, right? We're taking time back. If I can get this gun out of the holster, I don't yet know if I need to use the gun, except I've now gone from here to here. I bought myself a second, 2, 3 seconds, depending on the speed of my draw stroke. And now I just need to level my gun into the target, right? So if I already have this thing in my hand, well, that's oodles better than it being buried in a pocket or purse. Let's talk about distance. Well, most of these are going to be good 10 to 12 foot range and closer. Guys want bigger ones like the one I showed you a minute ago to shoot farther away. Let's think about the problem there from a legal and ethical standpoint, which I've got written down here in cautions. If I'm shooting it from 30 or 40 feet away from this, most of the time I probably could have broke contact. That's our last main training point. I need to juice you up to distract you, to deter you, to make you stop whatever you're doing so that I can break contact and get away. If there's some other situation happening, there's a mob of people, perhaps this pepper spray breaks up the action long enough that I can get a higher level of force into the fight. Have it with you, know how to use it. The condition and position matters, so train with purpose. The 3 R's, reliable, repeatable, robust. Awareness buys us time, so I need to pay attention to my surroundings. As I am moving through spaces, adopt this. As I am moving through spaces that are unknown or that I don't have security, I'm not in my house. I'm not somewhere with 20 friends with me. It's my job. It's my responsibility as a living creature. Every living creature flying out here on the farm, walking on the ground, it's their responsibility to pay attention to what's going on. Own that. When you're safely in your vehicle and you're driving down the road, now your focus can shift other places, but it's still going to shift to what's on the road, not what's on the phone, right? That awareness is on you to develop that, hone that, and own it. And remember, if we deploy it, we're going to break contact. So we're going to play around a little bit with getting this stuff up and practicing with it. Let's talk a little bit about cautions before we do some demos. Respiratory issues, visual impairment, skin reactions. There's going to be some legal and maybe civil liabilities if you use it the wrong time. Most people are going to be okay after a couple hours getting juiced with this stuff, but there are people that may end up having respiratory issues. If you shoot somebody, you had better have had a good reason for it. Otherwise, you may have a legal or civil issue for shooting somebody with this stuff. But for the most part, most people are going to be okay from a respiratory standpoint, talking about OC. But there are folks out there that this could cause various respiratory responses that are not good, which matters because out here today, there's a little breeze. This stuff could get on me. This could get on the people with me. Think about that. Skin issues, visual issues. If I can't see, if this gets in my eyes, I might be walking into things, running into things. Bad guy might be. And guess what? Just because somebody goes down and they can't see, if I got my eyes closed, I can still pull this gun out and start pressing rounds off. If I'm a shithead and I don't care about people, I may just shoot into a crowd, right? Mild soap and water are about the best recommendations. You will hear people say milk of magnesia, milk, things like that. You got to think about the chemical makeup of this stuff. It's a suspension. It's a suspension of the oleoresin capsicum. And that stuff oftentimes is mixed with ethylene glycol. So it's an oily substance. You need something to cut that oily substance. It gets on your skin. So if this does get on us in training or in real life, one of the couple things we want to do, we want to not just go stand in the shower. If it's on my face and I stand in a warm shower, it doesn't just wash off of you. It runs down you, infecting everything on you, including parts that you don't want pepper spray on. So think about that. So immediately irrigate. Your eyes might be burning, your nose, etc. Try to irrigate the stuff off of you without washing it to other parts of you. Mild soap like baby soap, dish detergent, things like that are going to help cut the product and get it off of you. Something else to think about. While pepper spray is legal in all 50 states, there are restrictions in numerous states. Some of those restrictions are the volume, how much is in the canister, The percentage of the active agent. Palm's pepper spray, this says our formula, Palm Clear, has 1.4% major capsinoid. Some of these words are hard. The strongest formula legal to carry in all 50 states. So they formulated theirs so it's legal everywhere. But laws change, right? So you need to know that. Some states have restrictions for age of the user. Some states require that there's a safety measure so that you can't spray it. So you need to know the laws in the state that you live in. All right, so let's think about context. So I'm about 10 feet or so from this target. Context would be, I'm trying to manage this person. So offense, right? Offense would be, excuse me, sir, can you please stop coming towards me, right? Hey, dude, can you hold it right there? I don't understand why you're walking up on me like that. We got to start to think about how to control verbally people around us. If we're just thinking of, just shooting people, that may or may not happen, but let's start with that. Somebody comes into your space, somebody comes into your area. Craig Douglas, Paul Sharp, that crew of guys teaches a program called MUCK, Managing Unknown Contacts. Be a great program for you to visit. But it's basically using visualization and verbalization. So I'm visualizing the space, somebody comes into my space, somebody comes into that space. Doesn't mean anybody that walks near you, you yell at them, but hey dude, can I help you? I'm not gonna say, hey dude, can I help you if I have a legitimate concern about somebody with my hands in my pants. So I may wanna bring them into a non-threatening position, right? Hey bro, can I help you? What's going on? I wanna keep some space. I don't want that person to be able to touch me, right? Completely different subject than the video, but I want you to understand why I'm doing what I'm doing. Somebody approaches me in that parking lot, I'm not going to keep my hands in my pocket. I have no tools between me and them. And I can hold this thing in my hand without them seeing what's there. Check this out. Can you see this is here? Hey man, what's going on, dude? Can I help you? Can you do me a favor and hold up right there for a sec? Guy doesn't listen, continues to approach. I don't want to make this video discussion about what things may need to happen for you to squirt somebody. The reason being, if you're my age, fairly fit, know how to fight, it may take a lot more for me to shoot somebody with pepper spray than my 70-year-old 4'11" mother or my 110-pound sister, right? It's not just about male, female. I had a friend named Jerry. Jerry passed away. He was an Army veteran, about 80 or so years old. Excellent, excellent human. He served on the Right to Carry Association with me as the vice president. Jerry carried a lot of knives on him. He carried pepper spray, he carried guns. He was a smaller guy. He was fit, but people would always say, Jerry, why do you have all that? And Jerry said, guys, I'm old. If you knock me down and get on top of me, I don't have the physical strength to get up and get you off. I need to have tools. So the context of when to deploy it is going to be a lot more dependent upon the individual and the totality of the circumstances. So if we need to deploy this stuff, if best case scenario, I don't know what a best case scenario is for having to apply force to somebody, but a best case scenario is I've got it in my hand. They're in front of me. I tell them to stop. They won't stop. I can punch this thing out. See that? And hit them. So we had two failures. First failure, I hit my own finger as it came out. Do you think that could be a problem, especially depending on the way the wind's blowing? I'm going to show you the face. So I gave one little squirt ski. And you see we've got a nice little misting on that face. That'd be a bad time for that guy. At that moment, I could pop smoke and boogie out. Let's try that again. So I'm gonna reposition. There is on this product, there's this small nub right there, and that nub is a touch point for you to keep your finger out of the range of the spray stream. I negated to do that with that first draw stroke or that first push out. So I'm gonna make sure I've got good training points. I'm gonna fix it and not just redo the same problem again. Hey man, can you do me a favor and hold up? Blah, 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 whatever escalates. I decide I'm gonna deploy, punch it out. Punch, 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 right to the face. Get the desired result and I can move. I'm not gonna just turn my back and run away, but I can do whatever I need doing. Let's look at this from a different perspective. The canister is in my pocket and I need to retrieve it. I showed you guys that I used that 2-finger pinch, right? The 2-finger pinch. Perhaps I was unaware. Perhaps I put myself in a position where now I have to go quick. This thing comes out. Wash, wash, wash. Again, training points. How are we positioning it? Can I get good hits from different angles? Something bad's happened, I've ended up on the ground. I decide to not go to the gun for whatever reason. Can I draw this from here? Heck yeah, heck yeah. I can get up, make space, right? How about closer in? How about closer in? Is this something that can be done when we're in tight proximity? Well, now you got to start thinking, do I want this stuff on me? You know, if I'm this close and I have to shoot, there's mist all around here. So we need to be mindful of that. The purpose of this stuff is to create space, break contact. What if you live in a place you can't have this? Maybe your age, maybe your legal standing. There's various reasons that maybe you're not allowed to have it. Now, these options that I'm about to show you real quick are not best case options, but something is better than nothing. Something is better than nothing. So the last thing I want to talk about here in this vid, again, what's the goal? The context is we are using the pepper spray, the chemical agent, as a breaking contact tool, right? For whatever reason, you're not allowed to have it. Couple options. The proverbial rape whistle. Don't make fun. I have definitely scared a dog with one of these. I've had a dog in the neighborhood that was a little bit aggressive. I don't want to shoot my neighbor's dog. I don't want to kick my neighbor's dog. Regardless of your viewpoint on animals, if I can just give a quick shrill whistle and cause the dog to startle, or a human, I'm going to do that. At the very least, people are going to hear. I am not at all suggesting not to fight. I am not at all suggesting not to use force. What I'm saying is, depending on where you're at, hey, I go to other countries. You are not allowed to take these products in airplanes. I guess that's worth noting now. TSA regulations, you can't take this stuff on an airplane. None of us are traveling to vacation on the beach in the islands with firearms. Even if you're a cop, international laws and laws in other countries, you can't just show up with a gun. A lot of places you can't show up with a knife. So something like this you can throw in your suitcase, and it's not that it's a weapon, and at the very least it's, hey, I'm out here, I need help. Maybe nobody's coming to help, but it's better than nothing. So don't misread what I'm saying. That's one option, the whistle. And these hurricane whistles are great. Another one that works well with both dogs and people. A cheap $10, $5 air horn. No, I'm not telling you again to forego having actual tools, but depending on where you're at, your age, what you have available to you, something like that at the very least might have somebody say, geez, I don't want a bunch of attention drawn to my mischievous criminal activities. If you're going to have tools like this with you, train with purpose. It would be horrible to need it and not be able to get it out of your pocket and deployed in a time of need. Be aware. Nothing trumps awareness. Awareness is a parsing of our attention, and that is a choice. Do I pay attention to this, or this? Do I pay attention with these, with this, with this, with this? All choices. You can get wrapped in to giving your awareness, your focus, your attention to something, be it your phone, a crying baby, the delicious smell of hot dogs wafting across the boardwalk, whatever it may be. Where you give your awareness is a choice. And if your personal safety is important to you, and I think it is because that's why we're having these discussions, choose to give your awareness to things that could be potential threats to you. Communicate for people to maintain distance. And if they don't, ask, excuse me, ma'am, sir, can you please keep your distance from me? You don't need to give a reason. If you want to, hey man, I don't like people in my space, or you can be a lot kinder than that. Could you do me a favor and just keep a little bit of distance? I'm a little weird about people in public. They keep coming. Hey man, I asked you, and now I'm telling you to please keep your distance. Don't escalate the thing. And if they continue, stop right there. And if they continue, maybe it's time for that squirt, squirt. The reason we're using the squirt, squirt is not to fight. The reason we're using the squirt, squirt is to get away. Remember, if this stuff gets on you, you may need to wash it off. You might not be able to get in your car and drive away if the wind blows it into your face. Food for thought. Palm pepper spray, CarryTrainer gets you a discount with that product when you order. If you do, make sure you get not just the actual product, but also the blue inert. Heck, I'd order 2 or 3 of each so that you can practice and then also have them for loved ones and family members. Hope you dug the video. I hope you guys are subscribing. If these videos are meaningful to you, if they bring you some type of value, share that in the comments. Drew and I'd love to hear it. If they mean something to people in your life, share them on your social media feeds. Hope to see you at class. S12 is coming up in November. Be well. Don't be dickheads. Tell somebody you love them. Hopefully you never need these things, but you know what? If you do, you're gonna do all right. Oh, hey there. Mickey with CarryTrainer, Drew behind the camera today. It's a beautiful radiant weapon. You know, I think to myself, I'm really glad I always have this thing with me. I never am without it. That and my trusty Glock 19. I've always got them both, so any problem that comes my way, I can solve them. Of course, I'm joking. And the other thing is, even if I've always had these guns don't solve every problem. They solve a very narrow set of problems. And those problems are something that requires deadly force. If you bring a firearm into a fight, you are telling the world you were in fear of death or great bodily harm, or that you're an idiot if you didn't need the gun. Open hand skills are fantastic. Verbal judo, the ability to communicate with somebody and maybe back them up. Maybe running away is important. But what about less lethal options? Things like pepper spray. And that's what I want to talk to you about today. We've got some stuff here from our friends at Palm, P-O-M. And what I like about Palm, made in the USA, folks have said to me, hey, I don't know who Palm is. Who's Palm? Well, if you've seen any pepper sprays in the last 30, 40 years here in the USA, Palm is involved in them in some way, shape, or form. They own the patents on a bunch of the parts that make all the big name pepper sprays work. So if you look at this and you're like, oh, that's just some new company, I'll stick with the big guys. Make no mistake, these are the big guys. They've been making the parts utilized in all that stuff for a long, long time. When they designed this, what they were thinking about, Palm, was being able to keep it in your palm. Now you think about a lot of us that have something like this, especially the ladies, I'm not knocking on you, but you get some of this and where is it? Yep, it's in the bottom of your purse or in your glove box or at home. In order for this to be of use, it's got to be accessible, especially when we think about when we need this stuff. Usually it's some type of ambush situation. Somebody comes into your space and you need it to you need to be able to deploy it quickly to repel them. As you're moving about spaces, places, this can be in your dominant hand, keys maybe, or whatever else in your other hand, or nothing at all, unless you got a briefcase or bag or something like that. But practicing carrying this is something that you should be doing as you're moving about. Just as important, Palm makes a inert solution. So it's really just water. It's not gonna hurt you. It's not going to burn you like this stuff would. Doesn't mean you shouldn't practice with a real one, but make no mistake, this stuff sucks to get in your mucous membranes. So if you order some of this, get 3 or 4 of the inerts so that you can practice. If you give one of these to your daughter, your wife, if you have one, practice with this so you understand what's coming out of the stream or what that stream looks like when you deploy it. Because what often happens is if we never, ever, ever see it, you don't want the first time that you use this and it's to try to get somebody away from you. You don't want that to be the first time you've ever seen what it does or how far it shoots or what that stream looks like. So grab some of each. Palm pepper spray, made in the USA, made for everyday carry, easy to hold, easy to use, affordable. And hey, we've got a discount code. It's CarryTrainer. Buy yourself some of the actual spray and some of the inert Palm.